You know that feeling? That relentless, gnawing pressure to be perfect? To have it all figured out all the time? Well, if you've ever felt that, then you're in the right place. We're about to dive into the work of a psychoanalyst named D.W. Winnicott, and his ideas are, honestly, such a powerful and comforting antidote to all that modern anxiety. They might just change the way you see, well, everything.
So, let's just start with a huge question. We are absolutely bombarded with messages telling us to be perfect. The perfect parent, the perfect partner, the perfect employee. But what if all of that striving, all of that pressure, what if that's the very thing that's trapping us, keeping us from feeling truly alive? What if the real goal is something else entirely? And that hunt for something else leads us right to Winnicott's first and probably his most famous idea. It's a real game changer. He looked at the insane pressure modern life puts on us, especially on parents, and he came up with a concept that was, well, it was totally revolutionary. He called it the good enough parent. Now hold on, before you think that means being lazy or neglectful, it's not that at all, not even close. It's actually a really intentional and incredibly powerful process. It's all about how you build a resilient human being. Okay, so here's how it works. In the very beginning, a parent adapts completely. They meet the baby's every single need, almost before the baby even knows they have it. But then, and this is the key, as the child grows, the parent starts to purposefully fail them, but only in small, manageable ways. Maybe a toy is just out of reach for a second, or dinner is a few minutes late. This isn't being cruel, it's a gentle, loving introduction to reality. It's how a child safely learns, hey, the world doesn't actually revolve around me, and that's where true resilience is born.
And this really gets to the heart of it. Winnicott basically said that trying to be this flawless, perfect parent, it's actually destructive. That constant chase for perfection, it just sets an impossible standard for you and your kid, and it gets in the way of what really matters. Just connecting, genuinely.
So why is being good enough so important? Well, because for Winnicott, a good enough environment is the only place where our most authentic self can actually show up. And that brings us to his next huge idea. This lifelong battle that goes on inside all of us, the battle between our true self and our false self. The space that this good enough approach creates is what Winnicott called the holding environment. You can almost think of it like emotional architecture. It's this reliable, safe, non-demanding space that protects you from all the pressures of the outside world. And inside that safe structure, you don't have to perform. You don't have to constantly react. You can just be. And it's that feeling of safety that allows our fragile, spontaneous true self to come out and play. But if that holding environment isn't there, if the world feels too demanding way too soon, we develop a false self. Now here's the crucial part. The false self is a brilliant survival tool. It's a polite, compliant mask we put on to protect our vulnerable core. But the tragedy is that this protective shell can become a prison, right? It can leave us feeling totally unreal, disconnected, like we're just an actor playing a part in our own life. Okay, so if we need this super safe space for our true self to emerge, how on earth do we ever learn to deal with the actual, messy, demanding world out there? Winnicott's answer is just beautiful, and it's so simple. We do it through play. It all starts with something he called the transitional object. Think of a child's worn-out, beat-up teddy bear. This little bear is so fascinating because it's a total paradox. It is obviously not me. It's a real thing in the world. But at the exact same time, it is intensely me. It is soaked through with the child's feelings, their creativity, their very sense of self. It's the very first bridge between our inner world and outer reality. And here is the kicker. This isn't just for kids. We use transitional objects all the time as adults. That photo you keep on your desk, the smartphone you're probably clutching right now, even a deeply held belief system. These are all things that help us navigate that gap between what's going on inside our heads and all the chaos of the external world. This whole area of experience, this sort of third reality where that teddy bear lives, Winnicott called it the potential space. And this is what I find so mind-blowing. He argued this isn't just about children's games. He believed this space is the very source of all culture, all art, all religion, all meaningful creativity. It's the sacred zone where our inner life can safely touch and shape the outside world. All right, we've talked about being good enough, the true self, the power of play, and now we get to the summit. This is Winnicott's most profound, most shocking, and honestly most life-changing idea. It's a concept that completely flips our whole understanding of love and connection right on its head. So to have a real relationship, we have to make this massive shift. We all start out relating to other people as basically extensions of ourselves, right? They're like characters in our own internal movie. But to truly connect, we have to somehow see them as a separate person with their own independent existence. So how do we make that jump? How does another person become truly real to us?
The bridge, the one thing that makes another person feel undeniably real, is a single, shocking word: destruction. I know, it sounds awful, but stick with me here, because what he actually meant by this is the foundation for the deepest, most authentic kind of love imaginable.
So here's the 4-step dance, and you have to remember, this is almost all happening unconsciously. First, you relate to the other person as if they're a part of you. Second, in your inner world, in fantasy, you test them, you push them, you destroy them. Third, and this is absolutely everything, they have to survive your psychic destruction. And only if they survive, only then can you finally get to step 4, relating to them as a truly real, separate person out there in the world.
Look, this is not about physical violence. It's an unconscious test. It's the baby biting the breast that feeds it. It's the toddler having a full-blown meltdown on the floor. It's one partner pushing the other away, just to see if they'll stay. It's this deep, primitive way of asking, are you real? Are you solid? Or are you just some fantasy of mine that's going to disappear the second I really need you?
So what does it mean to be on the receiving end of this? How do you survive for someone else? Winnicott was super specific about this, and I gotta warn you, it's incredibly hard. You must not retaliate. You must not get defensive. And probably the hardest one of all, you must not try to interpret their behavior back to them. You just have to be there, unchanged. Your survival is what proves to them that you're real.
And here is the incredible payoff. When you survive for them, they don't need their false self as a defense anymore. The world has finally proven it can handle their true, spontaneous, and yeah, sometimes destructive self. For the very first time, they can finally feel real. So let's pull all this together into a kind of manifesto for making real connections.
Winnicott basically leaves us with this amazing 4-part guide. First, hold. Create that reliable, good enough environment. Second, play. Meet people in that creative, potential space. Third, wait. Fight that urge to analyze and interpret everything. Let them find their own way. And fourth, survive. Enduring their tests is the very thing that proves you're real and allows them to finally truly love.
Which leaves us with one last thought. We put so much pressure on ourselves and on each other to be perfect. But maybe Winnicott's wisdom is pointing to something way more profound. Maybe real love, real creativity, and that real sense of being alive, maybe it's not found in perfection at all. Maybe it's found in the messy, difficult, and ultimately beautiful act of surviving one another. What would change for you if you let yourself and the people you love just be good enough?